Men notice things you don't even realize. They feel signals you think are harmless, gestures you believe are sweet, but from their perspective, they're quietly pushing him away. The truth, most men don't leave because they lose interest overnight. They leave because of one tiny mistake women make all the time, thinking it's loving, helpful, or necessary. And ironically, it's the exact thing that kills attraction faster than anything else. Here's what women need to understand. Men aren't complicated. They respond to clear signals, consistency, and confidence. But when women overcompensate, overanalyze, or try too hard to keep him interested, it has the opposite effect. It creates doubt, triggers insecurity, and slowly drives him to step back. And the worst part, most women don't even know they're doing it. So if you've ever wondered why a guy suddenly disappears, stops texting, or seems distant despite everything you've done, this is your wake-up call. The mistake isn't about being emotional, feminine, or vulnerable. It's about one subtle habit that can silently sabotage attraction. Once you understand it, stop it, and shift your approach, the dynamic changes completely. He feels drawn, intrigued, and excited, not confused, overwhelmed, or pulled away. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding how men actually respond in relationships, what drives attraction and what unknowingly repels it. By the end of this, you'll see the signs, recognize the mistake, and learn how to stop pushing men away so they stick around, invest, and commit without you chasing, pleading, or trying too hard. Let's start with a reality check. One of the most common mistakes women make that pushes men away is chasing reassurance constantly. Now, I'm not talking about the occasional natural need to hear, I like you, or I care about you. That's human. That's fine. But what happens when seeking reassurance becomes a pattern, texting multiple times to confirm he's okay with you, asking him repeatedly if he's thinking about you, or looking for validation in every single action he takes? That pattern, ladies, is a silent pressure cooker. Even the man who genuinely likes you begins to feel the weight of expectation. He doesn't stop caring, but he starts questioning how much space there is in the relationship. And space is critical for attraction. Men are wired to feel drawn when there's a balance between interest and freedom. When a woman constantly seeks reassurance, even subconsciously, it creates tension, unease, and in some cases, emotional fatigue. You're not doing anything wrong, but the repeated need to hear confirmation signals that you're unsure, and men naturally pull back when they sense uncertainty. Here's the truth about attraction. Uncertainty is fine when it's playful, mysterious, and balanced, but constant insecurity, that's exhausting. Men aren't immune to emotional overload, and one of the fastest ways to create distance is by putting pressure on him to constantly affirm his feelings. Women often think this is nurturing or caring. You want clarity because you like him, you want to feel secure, and you want to avoid misunderstandings. But here's the irony: the more you ask for reassurance, the less naturally he wants to provide it. He begins to unconsciously associate your presence with tension instead of comfort, and that slowly erodes attraction. This isn't about manipulation, it's about human psychology. Men respond to confidence, calm, and stability. The moment reassurance seeking becomes frequent, it undermines those qualities. It's subtle, but over time, it sends a clear message. You don't fully trust him or yourself, and that creates distance, even if he truly cares. Let's get real about the patterns that happen in everyday life. Imagine texting him constantly, asking, are you thinking of me? Or do you like me as much as I like you? Maybe you call after a date to confirm he enjoyed the time. Maybe you overanalyze his tone, read messages, or ask for clarification repeatedly. Each of these actions individually may seem harmless, but collectively they signal insecurity and emotional dependence. Men aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for balance. They want to feel like their interest is wanted, yes, but they also need space to breathe, think, and naturally invest without pressure. Over-chasing reassurance removes that balance. Attraction isn't about force, it's about mutual desire. The moment a man feels like he's carrying the emotional weight of the relationship, or like his feelings are being tested constantly, he naturally begins to retreat, even subconsciously. Now, this isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending you don't care. That's the key distinction. It's healthy and normal to want emotional affirmation. But the difference lies in how often, how urgently, and how you ask for it. Women often confuse love and attention with self-worth. If your happiness is dependent on repeated confirmation from him, it subtly communicates that you are not secure in yourself or in the connection. Men pick up on that instantly. They feel as though they're being tested or monitored. And attraction, as we know, thrives on challenge, mystery, and confidence, not interrogation. The most magnetic women are those who feel grounded, whose confidence isn't dependent on constant verbal affirmation. They might seek clarity once in a while, but they aren't emotionally tethered to his every word or action. That energy draws men in rather than pushing them away. Think about the long-term impact. When reassurance seeking becomes habitual, it subtly changes the dynamic. Men may start feeling guilty or burdened. They may feel like they have to constantly prove themselves, which ironically reduces attraction. What was once a fun, relaxed connection begins to feel like a chore. Even a man who initially found you fascinating may start associating your presence with tension. Women often misinterpret this as his losing interest, but in reality, the attraction hasn't disappeared. It's being stifled by the energy created through over-seeking validation. Men respond to calm, confident energy. They respond to women who trust themselves, trust the connection, and understand that their value isn't contingent on constant reassurance. This subtle shift in energy can be the difference between a man staying deeply invested or slowly pulling away without ever explaining why. So what do you do instead? The first step is awareness. Notice when you're seeking reassurance excessively and ask yourself why. Is it curiosity, insecurity, or fear? Once you identify the pattern, practice pausing before reaching out. Give him space to show interest naturally without prompting. Focus on your own life, your passions, and your confidence. The most magnetic women are those who live fully, independent of a man's attention, yet still make themselves emotionally available. They create an environment where a man wants to invest because it feels rewarding, not obligatory. When you stop chasing reassurance and start trusting the natural flow of the connection, something remarkable happens. He feels drawn to you, intrigued by your calm confidence, and motivated to show care without pressure. Finally, remember this attraction thrives on balance. A man wants to feel desired, yes, but he also wants to feel like he's earning your attention naturally rather than being tested constantly. Over-seeking reassurance tips that balance, replacing intrigue with tension, connection with pressure. When you step back, trust yourself, and let his actions speak for themselves, you create space for attraction to grow organically. You stop chasing, and he starts showing up. The moment you trust your worth, your energy shifts, and men respond to that shift immediately. That's the secret every woman needs to understand. Stop asking, start trusting, and watch the dynamics change. The right man will notice, invest, and stay, not because he has to, but because he genuinely wants to. One of the most common mistakes women make when dating is over-communicating. Sending too many messages, calling frequently, or sharing excessive details can unintentionally overwhelm a man. Most men appreciate connection, But there's a fine line between expressing interest and creating pressure. Over communication makes a relationship feel like a constant obligation instead of a source of enjoyment. Every text, every check in, every just checking message accumulates energy that may feel heavy. Even subtle gestures like sending long paragraphs about your day or interpreting minor actions can signal insecurity. Attraction relies on balance, curiosity, and natural effort, not constant updates or emotional analysis. When communication becomes excessive, the dynamic shifts and men begin to feel the need for space. Here's the reality: men naturally respond to calm, confident energy rather than persistent messages. When attention is given excessively, it can feel suffocating, no matter how well intentioned. Women often confuse enthusiasm and care with attraction building, but that's not always true. The key is creating an environment where a man feels drawn to pursue, not pressured to respond. Over-explaining, sending multiple texts, or continuously seeking acknowledgement can subconsciously reduce interest. Instead of feeling desired, he may begin to feel responsible for managing emotions, which is exhausting. The attraction that once felt effortless becomes a task, and then that tension slowly diminishes excitement. It's also about timing and context. Constant messaging during work hours, late at night, or immediately after a minor disagreement signals emotional urgency. Men don't always need to respond instantly. They respond to confidence and space. When communication is overwhelming, even small misunderstandings gain unnecessary weight. Instead of building connection, the relationship starts feeling transactional. I message, he replies, I need proof he cares. That repetitive cycle triggers anxiety on both sides. A woman who understands the balance between availability and independence creates a natural pull. She knows when to reach out, when to pause, and when to let interactions breathe. That energy keeps him intrigued, invested, and motivated to engage willingly. Another factor is clarity. Over-communication often confuses intentions. Long messages detailing emotions, intentions, or expectations can obscure the excitement and simplicity of dating. Men value straightforwardness and subtlety. When conversations become lengthy or frequent, the natural curiosity that fuels attraction diminishes. He may begin to feel he has already figured everything out about the connection, leaving little room for desire to grow. Emotional restraint doesn't mean ignoring feelings. It means creating a rhythm where interaction feels meaningful, engaging, and mutually enjoyable. By reducing unnecessary updates, you allow him to invest in the relationship on his own terms, which is far more effective for long-term commitment. Over-communicating also impacts self-perception. Women who repeatedly send messages may unconsciously signal insecurity or dependence, even if the intention is to nurture the relationship. Men are drawn to independence, passion, and personal fulfillment, not a constant need for reassurance. When a woman over-engages, she unintentionally reduces her own magnetism. Her energy shifts from confidence and curiosity to neediness and over-explanation. Men instinctively pick up on these subtle cues. Even a man who genuinely likes a woman may start to pull back if he feels the connection has become emotionally demanding. Limiting communication restores balance, strengthens attraction, and re-establishes a sense of mystery that keeps interest alive. The solution is intentionality. Choose moments to communicate with purpose. Share interesting insights, ask thoughtful questions, or express genuine appreciation, but avoid turning every interaction into a test of care. Space is a vital component of desire. When men have room to think, miss you, and decide to reach out, the connection strengthens naturally. Women often overestimate the need to explain themselves or maintain constant dialogue, but reducing frequency actually increases impact. The fewer messages that carry weight, the more attention they command. Strategic restraint fosters intrigue, empowers both individuals, and allows feelings to develop organically without unnecessary pressure or fatigue. Finally, understand the power of absence. Communication should create energy, not drain it. When interactions feel balanced, thoughtful, and purposeful, men feel inspired to engage, pursue, and invest in the relationship. Over communicating does the opposite. It diminishes attraction and increases emotional burden. Confidence grows from self-awareness, independence, and measured connection. The most magnetic women know how to express interest without overloading attention. They communicate meaningfully, pause strategically, and allow men to show care naturally. Mastering this balance ensures the relationship stays exciting, sustainable, and emotionally fulfilling for both parties. One of the most subtle ways women unintentionally push men away is by trying to fix them. You see, it often comes from a good place. You want to help, support, and nurture. Maybe he has a habit you think he should change, or a goal he's not pursuing as seriously as you'd like. Maybe he's stressed or struggling, and you offer advice or solutions. The intention is positive, but men perceive it differently. When a woman tries to correct or improve him, it can feel like a critique rather than a gesture of care. Even the most confident man can subconsciously feel judged or controlled, and attraction naturally diminishes when that happens. Men want to feel respected and accepted for who they are in the moment. They respond to encouragement rather than correction. A woman who constantly suggests improvements or points out shortcomings, even subtly, creates pressure. He may start avoiding deep conversations or emotional moments because they trigger feelings of inadequacy. The dynamic shifts from connection to tension, and that is one of the fastest ways to create distance. The key difference is support versus intervention. Encouragement uplifts. Fixing implies something is broken, and that's rarely received positively, no matter how well-intentioned it is. Another common scenario is trying to influence his decisions. Perhaps you want him to spend more time with friends, focus on career changes, or adopt habits you consider healthier. Again, intention matters, but the effect is often unintended. Men naturally resist when they feel controlled, and subtle attempts to shape behavior can feel like manipulation. Even suggestions framed as helpful can be internalized as criticism. This doesn't mean you ignore concerns or stop communicating, but the emphasis should be on curiosity, understanding, and shared solutions rather than imposing change. It's also important to recognize that attraction is about freedom. Men feel drawn when they are allowed to grow at their own pace, make choices independently, and feel trusted. Constant attempts to fix him reduce that autonomy and inadvertently signal doubt in his ability to manage his life. Women often think their guidance strengthens the relationship, but in reality, it can create subtle resistance. The energy shifts from desire to defensiveness. Over time, repeated efforts to correct or guide erode natural connection and intimacy. The most effective approach is influence through presence, not intervention. Men notice women who offer support, positivity, and inspiration without pushing for change, showing belief in his potential. Celebrating small wins and offering encouragement allows him to grow willingly. Confidence, warmth, and patience communicate trust, respect, and admiration. Attraction deepens when a man feels free, appreciated, and empowered rather than scrutinized or managed. Your role is to be a partner, not a personal coach. Emotional intelligence also matters here. Recognize the difference between offering help and imposing correction. Listening attentively, asking questions, and allowing him to find solutions independently is far more effective than trying to provide them yourself. Men want to feel capable and competent. Your attempts to fix can unintentionally undermine that. By stepping back, observing, and offering guidance only when requested, you maintain attraction, respect, and emotional balance. Men naturally engage when they feel empowered rather than judged. They become more attentive, more thoughtful, and more invested. Your energy shifts from control to influence, and that difference is magnetic. By stopping the urge to correct or change, you create an environment where he can thrive independently, feel respected, and connect with you deeply. Support, not intervention, is the key to keeping a man drawn and committed. Another major mistake women make is allowing their entire world to revolve around a man. When dating, it's tempting to prioritize him above everything else, spending all free time together, rearranging plans, and putting your personal goals on hold. It feels romantic in the moment, but in reality, it diminishes attraction. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own passions, hobbies, and ambitions. Independence is magnetic because it signals self-worth, confidence, and fulfillment outside the relationship. When your life revolves exclusively around him, he subconsciously perceives a lack of autonomy, and the initial excitement gradually fades. The danger of neglecting your own life is subtle. At first, he might appreciate the attention and devotion, but over time, the imbalance creates subtle pressure. Men enjoy relationships that complement their lives, not consume them entirely. If you constantly rearrange your schedule, cancel plans, or stop pursuing personal interests to accommodate him, he may start feeling suffocated, even if he loves you. The very energy that drew him in, independence, vibrancy, self-assurance, can diminish when you prioritize the relationship over yourself. Attraction requires balance, curiosity, and personal fulfillment. Independence also communicates confidence. Men are drawn to women who live fully, who have boundaries, and who maintain a sense of mystery. When your entire identity centers on him, he unconsciously perceives dependence, which reduces desire. Passion is fueled by a combination of closeness and individuality. The moment you step away from constant availability and cultivate your interests, friendships, and personal growth, the energy shifts dramatically. He notices the change, feels renewed intrigue, and becomes more invested. Another aspect is self-respect. A woman who neglects her life risks losing touch with her own needs, goals, and identity. Men are drawn to women who respect themselves and their time. When you maintain friendships, hobbies, and career goals, it communicates that you value yourself. That self-respect is attractive because it demonstrates maturity, stability, and emotional intelligence. One of the clearest signs a man is serious is when his words consistently match his actions. It's easy to say the right things in the moment, compliments, promises, or declarations of interest, but a serious man backs them up. If he says he'll call, he calls. If he commits to a plan, he follows through. Women often overlook this consistency because they focus on grand gestures, assuming attraction is about drama or excitement. In reality, reliability in small things builds emotional security, trust, and long-term investment. Repeated alignment between speech and behavior reassures you that his intentions are genuine, creating a foundation for deeper connection and intimacy. Consistency is particularly powerful because it eliminates doubt. When you know what to expect from a man, you stop overthinking every interaction or analyzing his every message. Instead of feeling anxious about mixed signals, you can engage freely, enjoy the moments, and trust the process. Women sometimes mistake unpredictability for passion, believing that hot and cold behavior keeps attraction alive. But unpredictability often signals disinterest, confusion, or lack of commitment. A man who consistently shows care and presence doesn't just maintain interest, he actively strengthens it. Predictable reliability fosters emotional comfort while sustaining desire, which is the key to long-term connection. Another critical aspect is follow-through on promises, no matter how small. Remembering details, checking in at appropriate times, or honoring plans demonstrates thoughtfulness and attentiveness. Women tend to undervalue these moments, assuming that only dramatic gestures matter. But attraction is built over time through repeated small actions that confirm respect, care, and commitment. A man who consistently aligns his actions with his words shows that he is emotionally invested, values your presence, and is serious about the relationship. These actions accumulate, creating an undeniable sense of security and trust. Inconsistency, by contrast, subtly erodes confidence and attraction. A man who frequently cancels plans, ignores messages, or makes promises he doesn't keep creates uncertainty and emotional strain. Women may rationalize these behaviors as stress, business, or external circumstances, but patterns reveal true intentions. Consistency communicates respect for your time, your feelings, and the relationship itself. It signals reliability and integrity, qualities that men must demonstrate to sustain a serious connection. Over time, repeated consistency becomes a silent language of love that reassures, motivates, and deepens intimacy, making you feel seen, valued, and secure. Conversely, a woman who abandons her priorities for a man can unintentionally signal neediness or dependence, which gradually erodes attraction. The beauty of having your own life is that it creates space for genuine connection. Relationships thrive when both partners bring energy, passion, and fulfillment to the table. When your world isn't solely about him, every interaction becomes exciting, fresh, and meaningful. Men are drawn to women who have stories, experiences, and ambitions. Being fully invested in your own life doesn't diminish love or commitment. It enhances it. Your vibrancy becomes irresistible, and he naturally wants to engage, support, and invest in the connection. Maintaining independence also fosters healthy boundaries. When you prioritize your goals and interests, you establish limits on what is acceptable in the relationship. This prevents over-dependence, ensures mutual respect, and keeps attraction alive. Men respond positively to women who have clear boundaries because it communicates value, strength, and confidence. Neglecting your own life removes those boundaries and subtly signals that your fulfillment depends entirely on him, which can create emotional strain and reduce desire. Finally, cultivating your own life is a long-term strategy for sustainable attraction. Men are drawn to women who live fully, who have purpose, and who radiate confidence. By maintaining friendships, pursuing goals, and enjoying personal passions, you enhance your own energy and create an environment where he wants to participate willingly. Independence isn't just attractive, it's essential for connection that lasts. When you stop revolving your world around him and start living for yourself, attraction intensifies, the relationship becomes healthier, and men naturally invest without pressure or anxiety. Consistency builds intimacy and empowerment. When a man's words and actions align repeatedly, you feel valued, respected, and secured. You stop guessing, testing, or overanalyzing every interaction because patterns confirm his intentions. Emotional safety allows connection to deepen naturally without fear of unpredictability. The moment you recognize consistent behavior, you start trusting not only his words, but also his presence, his attention, and his investment in you. This kind of alignment isn't built overnight. It's cultivated over time through repeated actions that reflect care, respect, and intention. When a man demonstrates this level of reliability, attraction isn't forced. It grows effortlessly because the emotional foundation is solid. You no longer feel the need to chase, question, or doubt. His reliability creates freedom to fully engage, enjoy intimacy, and deepen the relationship. Ultimately, the sign of a serious man isn't just in what he says, it's in the repeated choices he makes to show up for you in a way that reinforces security, trust, and deep emotional connection. One of the most overlooked signs of a serious man is that his love feels safe. When you're with him, You don't spend every moment second guessing, overanalyzing, or wondering where you stand. Instead, there's clarity, calm, and reassurance. That doesn't mean everything is predictable or boring. Passion and fun still exist. But the underlying energy is steady. A serious man doesn't create chaos or tension unnecessarily. His presence is comforting, his communication clear, and his actions consistently match his intentions. Emotional safety isn't about dullness. It's about reducing unnecessary stress and allowing the relationship to thrive naturally. Safety in love doesn't mean controlling the relationship or limiting freedom. It means creating an environment where both partners can express feelings, communicate needs, and grow together without fear of judgment or conflict. A man who is serious doesn't play games with your emotions. He doesn't test you with mixed signals or create unnecessary drama. Instead, he communicates openly, follows through on promises, and ensures that you feel valued. Emotional stability fosters attraction because it allows intimacy to develop naturally. Women often mistake chaos or intensity for passion, but true long-term attraction is built on reliability, trust, and mutual respect. Predictability doesn't mean monotony. A serious man still surprises you, engages in playful banter, and invests effort into keeping the relationship exciting. But the excitement comes from genuine connection rather than uncertainty or fear. He doesn't disappear without explanation or withdraw affection as a test. Instead, he balances consistency with spontaneity, creating a relationship that feels both secure and alive. Women are naturally drawn to men who offer stability without dullness because it signals emotional maturity, reliability, and long-term investment. Emotional clarity is a cornerstone of safe love. When a man is serious, he communicates his thoughts and feelings without leaving you in doubt. You can express your needs, share vulnerabilities, and discuss concerns without fear of an extreme reaction. This clarity fosters mutual respect and allows for meaningful connection. Women in relationships without this clarity often feel anxious, insecure, or overanalyze every interaction. A man who consistently shows up and communicates openly removes this uncertainty, creating a foundation for trust and attraction. Everyday interactions reflect serious love. Small gestures like checking in thoughtfully, remembering details about your life, or following through on promises demonstrate that you matter. When his love feels safe, even mundane moments carry significance. You feel acknowledged, valued, and included without having to chase attention. This repeated behavior reinforces emotional security, making the relationship a source of joy rather than stress. Over time, these micro moments accumulate into a sense of deep connection and genuine care. Safe love also encourages growth and authenticity. You can pursue your passions, express your opinions, and maintain in independence without fear of judgment or rejection. A serious man supports your ambitions, celebrates your achievements, and stands by you during challenges. Women often underestimate the importance of this dynamic, but emotional security is what allows attraction to flourish. When you feel safe, you can be fully yourself, creating intimacy that is both profound and sustainable. Ultimately, love that feels safe is unmistakable. You stop guessing, doubting, or overanalyzing. You experience connection, trust, and mutual respect naturally. This safety allows desire to grow, intimacy to deepen, and commitment to strengthen. A serious man's care is reflected in consistent actions, clear communication, and emotional presence. When love feels secure, it isn't forced or conditional. It's a natural, empowering, and magnetic force. Recognizing this energy signals that he is not just present for the moment, but intentionally building a future that includes you, grounded in trust, clarity, and unwavering commitment. Here's the truth. Attraction isn't about chasing, over-explaining, or trying to fix him. It's about balance, clarity, and respect. Respect for yourself, your time, and your energy. When you stop doing the things that push men away, something amazing happens. He notices, he responds, he shows up. The right man isn't the one who confuses you or creates drama. He's consistent, intentional, and makes you feel safe. When you prioritize your own life, set boundaries, and trust your worth, attraction shifts naturally. You stop chasing and he starts investing. So here's your challenge. Reclaim your energy, live fully, and focus on yourself. Stop over investing, stop testing, and stop over analyzing. The woman who masters this becomes magnetic, irresistible, and commands the love and commitment she deserves. Remember, stop pushing men away, start valuing yourself, and watch the right man step in naturally, fully, and seriously.